Hi there and welcome back to part 15 of History of Fleetwood Mac Singles. I'm Anita. Today we're going to get into The Wild Heart. We're going to start with a couple singles by Lindsey Buckingham. The Wild Heart came out on June 10th, correct, of 1983. What also came out in June of 1983, and I wasn't able to find out exactly what date, was a single called Holiday Road that Lindsey Buckingham wrote for the film Vacation. He also wrote another song for that film called Dancing Across the USA, which I have a couple singles for. And since they were also in June, I just thought I'd get those out of the way. We're going to start with Holiday Road, which pretty much shares the same cover across the board, and the few that I have. These are pretty difficult to come by. If you find one of these and you're an interested collector in everything I've been showing you, or a Lindsey Buckingham fan, you definitely want to look for one of these. Again, this one is out of the Netherlands. It's backed with Mary Lee Jones, which is from the album Law and Order, although this is a standalone song of its own, written again for the Vacation soundtrack. Lindsey Buckingham doesn't talk about this song too much. He doesn't reflect on it not fondly. He's brought it to his set list, which is great live. But Lindsey Buckingham has talked about how he didn't really want to get caught in the writing film scores or writing music for film often. Here and there, not a problem, but he didn't want to get caught in that cycle of continuously being asked and or writing songs for films. If you know the movie Vacation, this is just a great song. And funny little side note is that Lindsey Buckingham had added the barking dogs at the end of the song just for, what's and giggles, not realizing that the movie had a valid part about the dog, or a dog included in the movie. So that was just kind of a fun little thing. And Ivan Reitman, who directed or wrote or both Vacation, was super happy with this. And so anyway, one of my favorites. I love the song live, and I love the song. It's just a happy, great little song. So, single out of Netherlands, Holiday Road, backed with Mary Lee Jones. Again, not much variance. Germany, just a small little paper difference, but same thing. Label slightly different. This is Netherlands, this is Germany. And then also we have one out of Italy, all the same backside, B-side. Mary Lee Jones. This does not have a photo of Law and Order on the back, the one out of Italy. And it's definitely much shinier paper. Then we have one out of Japan, which I was very blessed to find. A little bit different hues of the greens and blues. A little addition of pink. Lyrics, small picture of Law and Order. Again, it's because it's backed with also Mary Lee Jones, which did come from the album. But these singles were in 1983. What is extremely difficult, and that one is this one is a regular release, not a white label. And again, this is an interesting copy because it says made in Japan. Oh, but it does have a little Japanese writing on it. But this could easily be mistaken for an American release, in my opinion. Just really stands out. So, of the four, I would imagine the Japanese one is the rarest one. Just because, well, I don't know, it's hard to say. But they're all pretty rare to find. What is super rare, and this one eluded me for years, was the Dancing Across the USA single. And to my knowledge, it's the only one, the only country that released it on a 45. And that had a very different cover. Again, copy of the Shadows of the West, because that song was from Law and Order. So this one is a very, very rare single to find. Now, both songs were on the soundtrack, which is also pretty rare. It's actually pretty rare and kind of expensive. So I do not have the soundtrack on LP. So I'm very happy to have these singles. Lastly, kind of slipping this one in to the between 82 and 83, because I have it both coming out as 82 and 83. I had brought up Robbie Patton, who had co-written Hold Me in the last video, or the video before that, having written that song with Christine McVie. And yeah, so Stevie donated her vocals on the song. And it's a great little song, Smiling Islands. Stevie comes in at the very, very end. You just wouldn't even know she's on it until the end of the song. But it's just a real sweet, real simple little song. If you haven't heard it, go check it out. It's available on YouTube. Or I think there's a full snippet of it on Discogs. So, Robbie Patton, Smiling Islands, backed with Orders from Headquarters. Nice little 45 to have. So, into Wild Heart. Again, Wild Heart was released on June 10th, 1983. It was spawned 3 singles. Stand Back, which came out about a month before in May of 1983 to promote the album coming out. If Anyone Falls in September of 1983, September 3rd, 1983. And Nightbird, which came out November 30th, 1983. And jumping right into the singles for Wild Heart is the U.S. single for Stand Back, backed with Stand Back, so promo. Notice the lighter Modern Records label. So mono stereo. Then you have the USA version, which is backed with a Stevie Nicks' first real B-side, which was a song that did not appear on the Wild Heart album, but the song is called Garbo, based on Greta Garbo. One of my absolute favorite songs. Stevie Nicks did that song live during her Enchanted tour, I believe, in 1998. And it was a really big deal. It was really nice to hear that song live. Real pretty song. Very simple. Not your typical Stevie song. Not a rock ballad. But just a really nice song. Again, we're going to run through a lot of duplicates because they pretty much use this picture for everything. And I have no complaints. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous photo by Herbert Worthington. And the simplicity of its darkness with this font and the little wild crystal heart. Just absolutely beautiful. On the back, the cover of the Wild Heart album. And again, the regular Modern Records label. We have, again, Wild Heart backed with Garbo. I guess that's going to be a duplicate. Also out of the U.S. I think this one is a much, much crispier. This one is a minty, minty copy. And this has no ring wear whatsoever. Which is why I think I have it. So, yay me. Well, the happy accident that got replaced. Canadian version. Promo, not for sale. So this is going to be back with Stand Back. Nope, sorry. This one's Stand Back and Garbo. I'm surprised. Out of Canada. Has the smaller hole. Just the Canadian paper sleeve. Out of Australia. We have paper sleeve. Stand Back, back with Garbo. Out of Germany. Same photo. You can tell just through there. Stand Back. Everything's the same. Italy. Nothing different to see. Same photo, same background. Also with Garbo. This one is a little bit different. This one is out of Italy as well, I believe. But I got this one because I'm weird like that, because it has that weird cutout. As you can see this time, when I had another one that I'd shown you, couldn't see through it, but now you can. Better light tonight. Really can't tell any difference, except maybe, you know what? Maybe I'm wrong. But this one looks like it's a little bit closer up. Perhaps I'm wrong. Maybe it's just because it's cut up and it just looks closer. But anyway, both out of Italy. The records look identical. Stand Back with Garbo. Out of Belgium. Same thing. Stand Back with Garbo. Slight difference here. We have from Spain. One of my other favorites. Just because it's neat to see it in another language on the cover there. And it's nice to see the Wild Heart cover used as the front art for the Stand Back single, because it's something different. Translated as well on the cover. On the back, another picture of the cover, but Stand Back still with Garbo. And it is in Spanish and English on the record. So it's very small, it says Stand Back. They don't say it in Spanish as well. So that one is kind of neat. It kind of stands out a little bit. And the same with the Japanese version, which is a regular, not a white label one. Interesting how Japan and, where did I just say, Spain? Yeah, decided to use this instead of the other photo. This beautiful photo that is on the back of the Wild Heart album. Actually, it's cut down. It's her and Robin and Lori. No, Lori and Sharon on the back of the album. But this one just shows Stevie. And the lyrics and the cover again. But just a really pretty Japanese sleeve. Next up we have If Anyone Falls, which again came out September 3rd, 1983. This was a really unique find I found some time ago, and it is a test pressing. It's not just a promo, If Anyone Falls, but a test pressing. So it's got the white label. And I have some more of these in 12-inch versions, some really unique ones where there's just some lines and it's handwritten what song it is. So legitimate test pressings. But this is a test pressing sent to labels before they put the proper label on and put the sleeve, which would come up next here. Very unique picture sleeve drawn by Monica, I always forget, Morales? I can't read that. I think Morabita. I can't remember, but I'll talk again about her more either when I get to the LPs where I'm talking about this, or the my scrapbooks, because I have some more stuff about this inside there. But If Anyone Falls was backed with the intro song of the Wild Heart, also called the Wild Heart. United States back-to-back classics, which included If Anyone Falls, backed with Nightbird, which ended up being a single much later. So even though this is not called back-to-back classics, it's the oldie series. So this again probably came out about 85 or 86 possibly, to kind of get the song out there some more, get some more radio play, but put a, two hits on one single. Canadian version, If Anyone Falls, backed with, not a promo, the Wild Heart. If Anyone Falls with the Wild Heart from Australia. This one is on a nice bit of a thicker cardboard sleeve. Much more durable than, stiffer than paper. Definitely more of a cardboard. And I believe also, let me see if I'm wrong. Nope, still the blue. I want to say one of these has a different color at some point. But If Anyone Falls, back with the Wild Heart. Germany. Same deal. Not much variance at all. None really. If Anyone Falls, If Anyone Falls, this one. So this should actually be the second one. So the first one is actually out of Germany. Yeah, this one was really a weird find. And I have no information on why this is. But this one was from Germany. And it's If Anyone Falls, backed with the Wild Heart. This one is of interest because it's If Anyone Falls, backed with Gate and Garden, which is a different song off of The Wild Heart. So 2 different singles from Germany with different B-sides. So that makes it pretty unique. Not sure why. Not sure if they came out simultaneously or at different times. I found very little information other than that they're releases, but as to why one has Wild Heart on the back, whereas the other one has Gate and Garden. So that stands out to me as kind of a unique item. We have an example this time around of the Wild Heart out of Japan with a very different photo. On the back, what was normally used as the photo for stand back. And this one is Wild Heart with If Anyone Falls with Wild Heart. And this is the regular label. And in this case, I do happen to have the white label one. So you can see that how different they are. Black and white, color, and regular. Same sleeve, same everything else. All this is the same, but the record is different. And I don't even think there's anything about it being promo on the insert. It's just it's on the record. But it was still, Japan did still issue it with this paper insert, regardless. So, but I think that's the first time where I've had both when I'm showing you, talking about it, or maybe the second time. Then we get into Nightbird, the last single. The Nightbird was a strange thing. There are many varying opinions about Nightbird. Nightbird came out November 30th, so about, not quite 6, about 5 months after the album did. And it's kind of a clunky song for radio play. It peaked at, I think, number 32 on the charts for like a week. Stevie Nicks did do it live on Saturday Night Live, her one and only appearance up until recently, in 1983, where she did Stand Back and then she did Nightbird. And the Nightbird single, 45, the picture sleeve one I'm about to show you, is very rare. It has always been rare. I don't believe it's that rare anymore, but I still see it sometimes on eBay for $25 to $50. I had always heard that the Nightbird single was pulled from shelves, but I never understood why the reason might be. I had heard that there was miscredit because the song was written by Stevie Nicks with Sandy Stewart, which we'll get to in a second, and that the original sleeve did not include that information. It would have included on the record, but I guess there's something about it being on the sleeve. If that were true, I have never seen a single that shows just, Nightbird written by Stevie Nicks or without this additional part. And I would imagine if that were the case, where they reprinted it, that at some point or another over my lifetime, one would have surfaced. So I don't think that's the reason. I'm not entirely sure. What I've heard secondly, which makes a little bit more sense, is that it was just a very limited edition. It was kind of an afterthought to have it released. Stevie Nicks had called it in her press interviews and such like that when Wild Heart first came out, her favorite song off the album. But I just don't think that anybody really had chosen or really wanted it as a single, but there it is. So the Nightbird single, the promo with Nightbird and Nightbird, stereo and mono, very unique as a promo. And I think I have 2 copies of that. I don't think anything's different. Oh, one has a silly date on it, December. Probably was from a radio station, and I've gone over this with you before. If there's anything different on it, I'm like, oh, that's cool to have. So that's probably why I have that. But this was the glorious, beautiful picture sleeve, a beautiful photo by Herbert Worthington. He had released this as a print at one point in his life called Nightbird, where he had done this extra in there. Just very, very pretty photo. I like the very light pink or kind of lavender color with it. It's very, very, very pretty. With the same color in the back. Picture of the cover again. So Nightbird backed with Gate and Garden. Nightbird by Stevie Nicks and Sandy Stewart. And this is the regular US release. There is a Canadian promotional, not for sale release. Probably again just sent to radio stations. And again out of Canada. And it is still Nightbird with Gate and Garden. It's kind of cool that it's promotional. And to me, the rarest in here, for me personally, is one I don't think I've seen elsewhere. I mean, I see it listed on Discogs here and again, but out of Germany, I believe I'm right. UK, out of the UK, we have Nightbird backed with Nothing Ever Changes. So completely different B-side. And this, again, is pretty minty. There's a little bit of ring wear on it. But, yeah, seeing this as a single, you know, after Gate and Garden with Nothing Ever Changes. Everything about it's the same, other than the B-side. So that was pretty cool. So that one was a really... I got this from what was once a really great friend, somebody I miss dearly and unfortunately fell out of with in Germany. I don't remember if she gifted it to me or sold it to me, but either way, it was very generous to get it from her. And it will be very important to me for that exact reason. I got a lot of really great records from her. So, yeah, this one stands out as one of my favorites and to me the most rare because of the different B-side. So, Nightbird with Nothing Ever Changes. To wrap this up, June 24th of 1983, Mick Fleetwood came out with his second sophomore album, just like Stevie Nicks' sophomore album, Wild Heart. He came out with an album called I'm Not Me. And it had two singles. One was called I Want You Back, and the other was Angel Come Home, pardon me. The interesting one about Mick Fleetwood's single is it had contributions, as I'd mentioned in the past, by Lindsey and Christine, and also Billy Burnett, who became a member of Fleetwood Mac later, as we all know, in 1987, when Lindsey Buckingham first left Fleetwood Mac. Also credits on this album, and I believe not on the song, but on the album, are writing credits by a man named Tom Snow. Tom Snow was a singer-songwriter, and he wrote songs for, everybody. Kenny Loggins all the way up, or Kenny Rogers, pardon me, all the way up to Selena. He just wrote songs for everybody, and he's still with us. And but Stevie Nicks guested her vocals on his sophomore album, which was called Tom Snow, self-titled, and there's a song on that album called Hurry Boy, and Stevie Nicks' vocals appear on that. So this little family is kind of small knit. They had all worked together. But yes, Mick Fleetwood, a lot of the vocals are taken over by Lindsey or actually Billy Burnett. But a lot of songs are written or there are vocals by Lindsey. No Stevie, no John, just Christine, Lindsey, and Billy Burnett. So Mick Fleetwood's single, this one was a promo for I Want You Back off his second album called I'm Not Me. And then he also had I Want You Back, which was the picture sleeve. Weird choice. We're back to the whole Peter Beard, as I believe. I'm pretty sure I'm right on that. Which I discussed working with Lindsey and with Fleetwood Mac during Tusk. I want to say this is either Vigone or Beard. I want to say, perhaps I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm accurate about that. I will look into that when I get into the LP part of Mick Fleetwood. But yeah, so the picture sleeve for that song. And then the last little tidbit I have from Mick Fleetwood was Angel Come Home. Now, what is funny is that even though Stevie Nicks was not on the record at any point, when Stevie Nicks did the video for If Anyone Falls, Mick Fleetwood appears in that video. And then the same day, Mick Fleetwood did a video for, I want to say Angel Come Home, but I could be wrong, where Stevie Nicks appears for just a nanosecond at the very end of that video. So even though she may not be on the record, there's still definitely some contribution by Stevie. So just always kept within the family. So again, got all that in. That is Wild Heart, a little Lindsey Buckingham, a little Mick Fleetwood at the end. After this, we're going to get into Lindsey Buckingham's 1984 solo album, Go Insane, plus Christine McVie's solo album. So that will be next time. Until then, have a great night, and thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.